Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, today we're tearing into a blueprint that completely shifts how we think about side income. I was honestly just blown away unpacking the concepts from this guide. Blueprint for $1,000 side income. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the mere thought of starting a side hustle, or if you're a beginner who's sitting there thinking, I literally don't even know where to start, well, you're in the exact right place. This is your beginner's step-by-step guide. So let's just dive right in.
$1,000. I want you to just think for a second about what an extra grand a month actually means for your everyday budget. I mean, we're not talking about buying private jets or, retiring tomorrow. We are talking about relieving real heavy financial pressure. It's the difference between stressing out at the grocery store checkout and just breathing easy. It's covering the car payment, crushing that annoying high-interest debt, or finally getting that emergency fund going. For a beginner, it's literally a transformative number.
But let's be real. As a beginner, staring down the barrel of a massive four-figure monthly goal, that can be completely daunting. It's super easy to want the result, but that gap between $0 and $1,000, man, it can feel like a vast chasm. So looking at this massive gap, the big question is, how do we actually get there? Well, we definitely don't get there by guessing. We get there by following a realistic step-by-step guide. We need a framework that cuts through all the online noise and gives us straight-up instructions.
And that is exactly what we're breaking down today. Here's the blueprint. We'll kick things off with a $1,000 goal, hit step 1, which is evaluating your options, move to step 2 with the initial launch, step 3 for consistent execution, and then we'll wrap up by scaling it all to 1,000. Laying out the roadmap like this is the secret to making side income totally accessible.
Okay, section 1, the $1,000 goal. Let's break down the math real quick. Before we even think about picking a hustle, we got to look at the numbers and take the emotion completely out of it.
Check this out. When you divide $1,000 by 30 days, it's just $33.33 today. Honestly, doesn't that just change everything? It's no longer this impossible mountain to climb. It's selling one old video game on eBay, doing one tiny freelance task, walking your neighbor's dog. As a beginner, making $33 a day feels entirely doable. This little math shift, that's our psychological foundation.
With the math out of the way, let's look at the macro view of our blueprint. It's a lot like building a house. Step 1, evaluating options, is picking your plot of land. Step 2, the initial launch, is pouring the concrete foundation. Step 3, consistent execution, is framing out the walls. And Step 4, scaling, well, that's putting the roof on and finishing the house. You skip a step, the whole thing comes crashing down. We've got to follow the order.
Which brings us to section 2, our first official step, evaluating your options. The source material talks a lot about finding the best side hustle, but look, best is super subjective. As a beginner, you absolutely have to pick an option that actually fits into your messy, real-world life. So how do you do that? You categorize your choices. Think about it conceptually. You have to balance the time a hustle requires against the initial effort to get it off the ground. Like, are you looking at a weekend gig with huge initial effort, maybe starting a power washing business? Or do you need a low-effort thing you can do in tiny pockets of time, say taking online surveys for 20 minutes after dinner? By plotting your options against the free time you actually have, you make sure you aren't biting off way more than you can chew. It's the classic idea of working smarter, not harder. On one side, you've got this strategic blueprint, carefully picking your hustle based on your actual life. On the other side, the high-effort, low-yield trap. This right here is where almost all beginners fail. It's like spending 40 hours coding a massive dropshipping website before you even know if a single person wants your product. No way. We are avoiding that completely. We're keeping it strategic. All right, section 3, step 2, the initial launch. Now, I want to slow down for just a second here, because this is where the rubber really meets the road. It is so normal for beginners to feel this massive wave of hesitation right now. You've got your idea, the math makes sense, but putting it out into the actual world, it's terrifying. And hey, that is completely okay. To get over that fear, your only job during this launch phase is to focus on what we call the micro win. Seriously, forget the $1,000. Push it right out of your mind. Your only goal right now is to make your first dollar. Or, your first $5. That first sale, that first completed gig on Upwork, that is your micro win. It's your proof of concept. It proves you aren't crazy. It validates the blueprint, and it stops you from giving up early. Chase that micro win first. Okay, so you got your micro win. Awesome. Now we pick up the pace and jump into section 4, step 3. Consistent execution. The foundation is poured, so it's time to build those walls. This phase is all about locking in your momentum and getting into a real daily or weekly rhythm. Look at me.
If you take literally only one thing away from this entire explainer, let it be this: consistency over intensity. This is the absolute golden rule for a beginner. You do not build a reliable side income by chugging energy drinks, staying up for 48 hours straight, burning out, and then ghosting your project for a month. No, you build it by putting in 45 minutes a day, every single day. Steady, manageable effort is just infinitely more powerful than these chaotic bursts of energy. Consistency is what prints money.
Which leads us to the finish line, Section 5, Scaling to 1,000. You've evaluated, you've launched, you're executing like clockwork. Now, we take those micro wins and we scale them up to hit the big target.
Just like we broke down the daily math earlier, we can break our monthly goal into weekly chunks. Week 1, $250. Week 2, $250, and so on. By focusing on these smaller, weekly targets, that intimidating $1,000 goal just naturally becomes a byproduct of your system. You aren't hunting $1,000 all at once. Actually, scratch that. It's more like you're hunting $250 4 times. It just scales beautifully when you trust the steps.
And that creates this awesome escalation arc. In phase 1, the launch, you're just scraping together that micro win. By phase 2, execution, the momentum really starts snowballing. And then by phase 3, scaling, your revenue rockets right up to that $1,000 mark. It isn't magic, you guys. It's literally just the result of sticking to the blueprint. So, to wrap up the core message of today's analysis, making a reliable side income from scratch is a lot like architecture. It takes a real blueprint, a structured, step-by-step design. Our source material makes it crystal clear that this shouldn't just be random guesswork. Design it right, build it step by step, and it's going to stand strong and give you that financial breathing room.
Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question for you to chew on today. What is your first step today? Not tomorrow, not next Monday, today. You've got the beginner's step-by-step guide. You know the math is just $33 a day. You know it's all about consistency over intensity. The blueprint is right there. So which option are you evaluating right now to score that very first micro win? Take that step, and I'll see you in the next explainer.